guys, it's Caroline, and today I'm going to be doing my December TBR. Now, last month I had a bunch of books on my November TBR, 11 to be exact, and I just realized I never stick to my physical TBR, partially because a lot of times I read things that come up on audiobook, my mood changes, whatever. And now I am realizing we're at the end of the year, my mood is going to be all over the place. Also, I'm trying to hit 200 books, but I am like 20 or so books away, so I maybe have to be careful what I'm picking. I can't be picking up huge books if I think that I'm going to be making that. So I picked a smaller list than 11 today, just because I know I'm really subject to change, but let's get into it. First things first, right now I'm reading Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, so I'm thinking in December I'm going to be picking up Starsight. This is a book I have from the library, which is why it's so shiny. And if you don't know, Brandon Sanderson, I'm only 50 pages into Skyward, but this is a series about a girl whose father was a pilot, and in this like great battle that kind of starts their society, he turns and runs and is shot down as a coward, and she's sort of living with that, and she stumbles upon a spaceship, and I think kind of goes from there. I don't know what else happens because that's all I know so far, but this is the sequel. It's a quartet, although these are the only 2 books out. I think the next one's coming 2021 and then 2022. But yeah, I loved Mistborn. I figured why not get a little lighter Brandon Sanderson before I jump back into something like Elantris. Okay, next up I have The Air Affair, which is by Jasper Fforde, and these are like detective novels. I can't remember exactly. I read this first one when I was like a kid, but they tie into a lot of classics or Humpty Dumpty, and if you've read a lot and you know a lot of like classics, I think these have a lot of jokes and a lot of puns, and when I was a kid I thought it was funny, but I think a lot of it went over my head because I hadn't even read Jane Eyre. Now I've read it twice, so I just think that it's time for me to read these. I think they're also fast. I love a detective novel, and they're literary, and there's a whole series, and I think that that's something that I could really blow through and have a lot of fun with, without it being too heavy, because my next pick, which was also on my November TBR, but I'm a loser, so I didn't get to it, is really dark and heavy. So yeah, The Poppy War, I'm trying to reread this entire trilogy because The Burning God came out. I read the first 2 before. I read them last summer, and this is just a heavy read. So good, but I know it's gonna just depress me, so that's why I have some other books to balance it out. They're also very long. I think they're all 400, 500, and 600 pages. If I'm not mistaken, this one's 500. Sorry, 500, 600, maybe even 700. But they are dark. And this is about, it's a fantasy setting, but it's kind of based off of the Sino-Japanese War. It's about a girl who grows up in kind of a poor province. She has darker skin, but she gets into the fancy military academy. And the first book kind of details her at the military academy getting bullied because of who she is, but also then war breaks out. And so they're at the military academy, so she's got to pop into there. But it's all about the horrors of war. I'm sure you've heard all about it, and if you haven't read it, you really, really should. Okay, next up is a really random one, and it's called Early Decision. Now, this is actually, I do believe that this is Harvard, one of the gates at Harvard on the front. Basically, my mom recently read this, and this is about a girl who is like a college counselor or helps high school kids try to get into college, and right now I'm a tutor, and I partially do like college counseling and like essay brainstorming and stuff like that, and you know, sort of my gap year job is being a tutor, and I went to Harvard, so I do think this book will be really interesting. I mean, a big part of my job is dealing with parents who like are a little over the top, and also dealing with kids who are kind of like don't care, and sort of the dissonance between what the parents want and what the kids want, or what the parents expect and what the kids are willing to do. And so I just think that this is going to really hit home because this is literally my job, and my mom thought it was really funny, and so I just think that it's gonna, you know, speak to me. Next up is Anxious People, and I want to read this so badly. I think it's perfect for someone who's trying to crush a Goodreads goal because it's not very long, and I'm sure it's just going to suck me in and make me laugh, and I'm just going to really enjoy it. It's all about people who are in this failed bank robbery, and I think they're all anxious for different reasons. I don't know. I kind of remember when I first saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the cutest slash funniest setup, but I didn't want to remember it because once I read it, I just want to like fall into it. So I'm really excited for this one because I love A Man Called Uwe. And the final book that I'm going to hope I read, the rest are just going to be wild cards, but the final one is Transcendent Kingdom. I've been waiting for this for so long. I ordered it from the Strand. It's a signed copy, and it took the Strand a month to send it to me, and the entire time I've just been thinking about this book. I actually don't 100% know what it's about because I want to go into it just like completely, you know, there's not a lot, so I don't want to know a ton because I feel like sometimes with short books, the synopsis gives you like, you're halfway through and you're like, okay, I've seen all the synopsis now, what else do we have? And I don't want to do that to myself. So I'm just going to go into it. I know it's about like a Black woman and she's kind of dealing with religion and I think also academia. I don't know. I'm intrigued. So, and also it's just so pretty, like the gold foil. I really wish this wasn't printed on it, but because this is just like the perfect cover. But anyway, I'm really excited to read this, and again, this is another fast book that I think I'm just going to absolutely fly through, and I'm glad that I own because it is gorgeous. All right, guys, that's it for the TBR that I'm going to be, you know, expecting of myself. Of course, I'll be reading different books, more books. Fingers crossed that I read about 25 books, but we shall see. But yeah, that's it for me. Bye.